David Cameron, do you know what a pink pussy is?
An accusation that's often levelled at politicians is that they don't tell the truth.
How are you?
Perhaps more fair to say that they have a script and they usually want to stick to it.
So it's on sets like the one behind me that particularly during election time politicians would be grilled, they'll often be roasted and sometimes they'll be left stewing.
All right, interview terminated because you won't answer the question. What are these politicians like?
Did you threaten to overrule him?
I did not overrule Derek
Did
Lewis.
you threaten to overrule him?
I took advice on what I could or could not do.
Did you threaten
and
to
I
overrule
acted
him, Mr. Howard?
scrupulously in accordance with that advice. I did not overrule Derek
Did you
Lewis.
threaten to overrule
Mr.
him?
Marriott was not suspended.
Did you threaten to overrule him?
Research on the art of the political interview tells us that rather than lie when asked a question, a much preferred strategy for politicians is to avoid the question altogether.
You were saying it's May or much longer. What do you think it should be? What do you think of the position we've heard from the French?
Professor Bull, good afternoon.
Professor Peter Bull is a communication expert who studied British political interviews for decades.
We've developed what we call a typology, which, put simply, distinguishes at least 36 ways of not answering a question.
I know you're very impatient and you
I am. I just want to get you to tell me what's going to happen.
And the really common ones are, you could say the question is hypothetical or speculative.
I think that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. The Prime Minister is the Prime Minister and must remain in office.
But there's another kind of reason for it, what we call conflictual questions. And conflictual questions, whatever you say is going to make you look bad. And often the thing that will make you look the least bad is if you don't answer the question.
Minister, I've repeatedly asked you which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Ignoring the question.
I love eggs, particularly scrambled.
Acknowledging the question without answering it.
It's a good question, and I love eggs, particularly scrambled.
Deferring responsibility.
I'm not going to comment on a private matter between the chicken and the egg.
The question does not address the key topic.
It's not about what came first, it's about what tastes better.
The question is hypothetical.
I'm not going to sit here and make wild guesses about chickens and eggs.
Appealing to nationalism.
If it wasn't for all those ducks coming over here...
You get the idea.
But they don't like to be seen to refuse to answer a question. It doesn't look very good.
But political interviewers have methods of their own.
But did you believe in old Labour?
I believed in the values of the Labour Party, yes.
No, did you believe in what they stood for?
The way I try and approach these things is to see it in advance as a combat. That a politician who answers the same way every single time, if you ask them their favourite colour, they will give you their policy of the day. If you ask them if the earth is flat or round, they will tell you their views upon the education system. It's like punching a blancmange. You've gone at the politician again and again and again, and they just haven't yielded, and they also haven't conceded anything. In my view, looks foolish and evasive.
It looked as though we hadn't.
Well, I would have... You mind?
No, just answer what you were answering. No.
Stop being so rude.
The classic is to say they're being interrupted too often. If only you would let me finish.
It's across the board. To the question? Yeah, I'm answering the question. If you just let me speak, Andrew, it's just really annoying.
Sometimes the politician is frankly havering, and it is sensible to point out the degree of haver that is perhaps on display. There are some of my colleagues who say that the relationship between the media and political life should be that as between the dog and the lamppost. I wouldn't quite go as far as that.